Hey y'all, we are back. I'm Chelsea Williams with Core Solutions Group. So we are helping law firms all over the United States increase profits through outsourced tax accounting and financial management or cash management services. But this video series is where we leave the practice of law at the door and we really focus on what it takes to run a successful law business. So we bring key players to the table that are going to help you run the business side of your law firm more efficiently and give you those golden nuggets. So these people are also coming on here with a heart to serve and really give you some good information that's going to help you today to adjust your strategy. Today we have with us Tyler and April Roberts. They are from NOMOS Marketing, which is a full service marketing firm all the way from strategy to implementation. And yes, they are a husband and wife team, so they especially have a heart for family-owned businesses. Tyler is a former practicing attorney, which gives him a really unique perspective, being that he's been on both sides of the table. And he also worked as a journalist in the legal industry. April left a marketing agency where she oversaw the account management department with over 200 clients and 7 account managers. So they both have a really good background, a solid background and experience with marketing. So I'm really excited to have this conversation. You guys, thank you for giving us your time today.
Chelsea?
Yes. All right. So tell us a little bit about NOMOS Marketing, the business, the company. Tell us about you guys.
Sure. So NOMOS Marketing is a full service marketing agency. We handle everything from digital ads to SEO, social media, websites, but then we also do the traditional side of things such as billboards, TV, radio placement, PR. We try to be a one-stop shop for attorneys. One thing that we really pride ourselves on is being able to pivot at a moment's notice. So we have a lot of clients that come to us and we build a website, or we're doing SEO, or we're doing pay-per-click, but they have a more immediate need where maybe they need to change their strategy a little bit, or they see a new opportunity in their market, and we're able to provide that service. Whereas we're not going to have to go and shop this out to someone else. We're not going to have to freelance it out to someone who might be working, from their kitchen table. We have a full team here in San Diego of 35 professionals. We have a web team, an SEO team, social media team, account management. What's great about that is that we can take the phone around, show our clients, who they're going to be working with. We can bring people into the conversation and really provide a lot of value in that respect. One thing that kind of sets us apart is, obviously we're a husband-wife team, but going to law school, we both kind of saw what our clients go through going to law school, the sacrifice they make for their family, the amount of time and energy and money they put into law school. We're still paying off my student loans. We'll probably be doing that for a very long time.
Probably so.
And so when we work with a startup law firm, we understand where they're coming from. We kind of understand what's on the line and what's at stake, and we really respect kind of where they are in life. I think it's great just because we're able to connect with them on a more emotional human level. And it's not so much a transactional relationship as much as a partnership. And it's really what we try to cultivate here, with our clients.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds great. All right. So I want to dive right in and I want you guys to tell us a little bit about your strategy. How do you guys approach your clients and how do you actually carry out that different approach?
Sure. So I think one of our mission statements, or a piece of our mission statement, is to make the law more human. And what we mean by that is making it more approachable, less intimidating, making people feel more comfortable. Because a lot of times when people are searching for an attorney, it's a very difficult moment in their life. It's very rare that they have to hire an attorney. Attorneys are expensive and they want to feel comfortable with that decision. And so with everything that we do, we try to create a positive interaction, whether that's digital or in print, something that's going to make them smile, something that's going to make them feel comfortable picking up the phone and making that phone call. I think what we see a lot of attorneys do is wear the suit with the arms crossed, with the stern look on their face. And I think maybe that probably worked 20 years ago. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what it looks like. And it's not approachable. People, they're already nervous. Why make them more nervous? And
honestly, if you hear anything about body language experts, this is like the no, right? This is the no. This is the cut off position. Interesting.
Yeah, it's not very inviting.
Right. And I think that people are just kind of tired of it too. And I think about younger generations and what their shopping behaviors look like. I think about the brands that I connect with. And, it's curated still, but it's done in a very authentic way. And I think that's something that we try to accomplish with our clients. And that can be through just good design, number one. But number two, I think that a lot of people kind of forget how important photo and video can be. Having those authentic photographs, having even videos like this one that we're doing, which is kind of a more raw video. We don't have to do a higher production value in order to get the message across and to really connect with people. And so we really encourage our clients to kind of move towards that, as opposed to the old school stodgy look. Anytime someone pushes for that, they say, well, our competitors do that. This firm's been super successful. And, I always say, well, they're successful because they've been in business for a long time. They have a referral base. They have former clients. What they're doing now isn't necessarily working because of the look they have or the messaging they have. It's just they're staying top of mind with people, and people have that association with them, with that practice area. What we try to encourage people to do is build their own personal brand, lean into who they are, and really kind of connect with their ideal client in a way that's more authentic. And I keep using that word, but it is such an important word for attorneys, I think, in this day and age.
Yeah. And I think it makes you as an entrepreneur, because that's what we are, what we're all doing. It makes you have more fun with it. Like, why pretend to be someone that you're not? Just lean into who you are. We have a client local here in San Diego, and he rides his motorcycle to our office. We're about to do a photo shoot with him, and we're going to lean into who he is with that. Everything from his branding to his website is all around that and is who he is. And I think you feel proud about it when that's your true identity.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And, I can agree with you guys on a lot of different levels. I think the generational change, the phase that we find ourselves in about to be 2020, is that we're kind of accommodating this younger generation, but we have this older generation. And so this generation grew up seeing both sides of technology, right? But this younger generation coming up, it's been there their whole life. And they value the keyword, the buzzword of today, which is authenticity, right? They're hip to the sales. They're hip to the, what image you should be putting out there to get whatever response that you want, right? And so they just want to know who you are as a person, because I've heard it said before, and I really do believe in it, especially with a small business, when, like you guys and like me, we're the face of the business. They're not really buying our services. They're buying us as a person. We're who they have to trust in order to move forward. So I can absolutely agree with that. And I feel like I've said this on all my videos. I keep referring to the Clio legal trends report that they just released. I don't know if you guys have looked at that. Such valuable information that really agrees with what you guys are saying in terms of, people are hesitant to pick up the phone because they're so intimidated.
Right.
Well, we actually just got back from ClioCon, and I'll tell you, that was an eye-opening event for us, because we kind of knew where our background came from. Like, we had this kind of bent towards access to justice. As a journalist, that's something I got really interested in legal tech, and to see how Clio was combining those two things to really improve the practice of law and improve the lives of our clients. It just made us go back to kind of our framework as a business to say, how do we leverage marketing to do the same thing? How do we make the law more accessible through marketing? And I think one of the things that we talk a lot about is you have these law firm websites that are so shallow when it comes to the content. And when you're looking for, like, you may not even need an attorney in certain situations. You may just say, I have a problem. I don't know how to fix it. And by providing that content, either written or through video or a brochure or an ebook, you're able to shed light on what the solution is for that problem. It could be a legal solution or a more practical solution. And we kind of see that as something that we can do to help bridge that gap, in the access to justice gap. And so, going back to Clio, the trends report, what's insane about that is it's the most basic underlying processes that you can put into place for free that are going to help your business grow and, help connect people to the services that they need.
Yes, in my eyes, I'm seeing this is the easiest thing that you can implement to put yourself in the top 5%.
Right. Answering your phone, that was like the biggest eye-opening experience, because like that's what I do. I'm so organized, OCD. We have very different strengths. And, you know, Tyler's the creator, the builder of everything. And I'm like, oh my God, you didn't pick up your phone? Like you just had a lead come through. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did you call them back? You know, it things like that, because customer service is everything. And they're going to call someone else next if you don't answer. So.
Well, and from a marketing perspective, you can dump as much money as you want to in pay-per-click ads or running Facebook ads. And if you're not there to answer your phone and capture those leads, then that's money out the window.
And it doesn't matter. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
We always say we can lead a horse to water, but we can't force it to drink. And so when we're talking to attorneys, we try to look at their process in the back end and see how they are capturing those leads and really kind of coach them through that. We do call tracking, which allows us to kind of look into who's calling, how many new calls did you get, did you answer the phone, how long were those calls, and then we can ask them, were they quality calls? Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of, from a tracking standpoint, that's almost like a baseline for us and what we recommend. And looking at the Clio Trends report, there's a lot of opportunity to improve in that area. And I think that's something that a lot of law firms should look at doing if they are doing any sort of marketing.
Right. Yeah. And I always say, you know, when I'm doing my presentations, like, I'm not the marketing expert. I only know enough for you to ask me questions like I think I know enough, but then I'm going to be like, go see someone else. But I do know that in marketing, the whole goal is to find your vending machine, right? So you said it's really easy to just dump money into something and then hold your hands out. And that's like the slot machine method, right? Like you dump money into this marketing effort and you're just like, oh, please, something come my way, right? But the goal is to track your ROIs, which I want to talk about here soon, and to find that vending machine. And for me, it's relevant for me because, you know, with my clients, we're working on your conversion rates because that's what helps us forecast the next 3 to 5 years, the next quarter, however long it is. When we uncover revenue formulas, we're looking for conversion formulas too. But if you're not capturing that data and tracking it and finding your vending machine, our formulas are worthless, right? So talk to us a little bit about some of that.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this analogy today and we were kind of discussing it. And we talk about vending machines. I think you can look at it in terms of ROI. I think one thing that we like to kind of break this down even further is there are good vending machines and there's bad vending machines. There's vending machines that are properly maintained, and there's vending machines where you might put your quarter in and you're never getting it back. Or you know, your snack gets stuck, or it's not been stocked recently. Or maybe you get the drink that you wanted, but it's been there for 2 years and it's stale. And so finding the right vending machine, I think, is number one, really important. And that's something that we place a premium on, which is this client going to be a good fit for our agency as well? Are they going to be happy with the service that we provide? Are they going to be happy with the final product? Are their expectations in line with what we're going to deliver with them? And so when we talk about the vending machine, I think you're absolutely right. It comes down to tracking that data and really optimizing things over time. I think we see a lot of attorneys have knee-jerk reactions to the market or to certain campaigns and how they might perform initially. And they don't really put in the time to optimize and to test and to see how things can be improved. And really, you know, when you look at forecasting over the course of a year or two, you really want to make sure that you're making that initial investment to understand what's working and what's not going to work. But it's got to be an ongoing effort. Otherwise, you're going to start to see those results go down. If you decide to pull out too early, then obviously you've put a lot of money into kind of the testing and optimization phase, but you're not going to see the return on the back end of that. And so I think when we're talking about, you know, getting to that point where it feels more like a vending machine, it is that investment in time and money, and also just talking through it with your agency partners to really understand what they're doing to front load the work, and then also how are we going to track this on the back end? How are we going to make the best decisions for your budget moving forward?
Right. And you bring up a good topic to kind of transition into, which is expectations, maybe even versus reality. Because I know, and I think I did it myself when I first went into business. I was like, ooh, paid Facebook ad, $50. I should get like 10 new clients, right? I mean, that's an exaggeration. I knew better, but still, I think that the expectations when it comes to marketing is a lot different when you don't know the back end of marketing and all the moving pieces that goes into it. So help us understand, you know, what should your expectations be? And more specifically, even like the timeline, you know, when you tweak and you test and you tweak and you test, What's the timeline for that?
I think where a lot of people get confused is that they compare themselves to someone else and they say, well, this is how they did it, so I should get the same results. My friends in this different agency or this different, area, and they're getting something totally different. And, I think not all law firms are the same. Cities are different, which makes the marketing needs different in that city. What we're going to do for someone in a small town in North Carolina is going to be totally different than what we're going to recommend for a client in Los Angeles. And I think, understanding the needs and, who you're up against, the marketing is going to need to be more aggressive in some areas. And in other areas, you may not need as much. You may be able, to just do a few things and, you're ranking in those top keywords. So I think that that's definitely one of the first important things to understand, and really lean on the experts in that area who have years and years of, research and expertise in order to put the best foot forward for their clients.
Right. And I think, I hate the old saying, and I think there's a lot of SEO agencies out there that'll do this, where they say, well, it's just another 6 months, right? Or just give us another month. Like, we're going to see results. Or Google changed their algorithm, and that's why you're not doing all this month. And there's always an excuse. There's always some delayed thing that you're looking forward to. And I think for us, it really just comes down to, what's our strategy going to be? What's the market look like? Who's your ideal client? Also, what's going to be the lifetime value of your clients? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people get hung up on high cost per click keywords on Google Ads, for example. But if you look at the back end, the lifetime value of your client could be $10,000, $20,000. And if you spend $1,500, to get 1 or 2 clients every month, and you look at that, I would make that investment every single day. I think it's a tough pill to swallow, though, when you're going from doing no marketing to jumping into doing marketing. That budget, it's definitely an investment, and we take that very seriously. That this is something that a lot of law firms are stretching to make happen, because they know it's a good investment for them. But when it comes down to setting expectations, it really, we can look at case studies, we can look at search volume, we can look at cost per click, we can look at the lifetime value of clients. But aside from eliminating all the guesswork and really putting it to, like, a sound strategy around things, we really like to look at 3 to 6 months for optimization. I think we've seen people come in and they say, I want to see this result in 1 month. That's just not realistic. We really look to see, where can we have a touch point every month to see how things are tracking? When we get to 3 months, can we reevaluate this plan and see if it's gotten the results that we want? Do we need to give it another 3 months to get to a place where we feel like it's very healthy? And then, of course, there's always the front loading of the work. So creating the campaigns, creating the ads, creating the ad copy, and really understanding what that whole funnel is going to look like. And there's a part of that too.
Yeah. And I think too, when you're looking at 3 to 6 months, not every single month is going to go up. I think you want to be able to zoom out and see that overall it's gone up. I think historically, there's certain months that are going to perform better than others, not just with paid, but also with organic searches. People have different things in mind at, different times of the year. And I think helping to create a story and explaining that to clients is really what we're here to do. And, overall, we want to see that go up. Google is going to change their algorithm. We are going to need to go in and update things, but as long as it's overall going up, that's our goal. And we don't want to just look at the quick 30 days. Oh, we did it. We're really here for the long haul, and we want to make sure that we're providing that to our clients.
Yeah, that makes sense. Almost like the stock market, right? Don't look at it too closely. Don't analyze it and granularize it. Just step back and make sure it's trending in the right direction.
Exactly. Great analogy.
Yeah, and I think too, at a base level, I want clients to feel proud about their marketing. I want them to feel like when they're showcasing their firm, when they're handing their business card over, or they're giving their brochure away and people are on their website, that they're going to feel good about that. And I think there's a component of that when it comes to setting expectations too, is we're going to do the brand building that you're not going to have time to do on your own. We're going to help you to develop your story. We're going to make sure that's cohesive across all platforms. And that's something that when you look at it, and when your competitors look at it, your friends look at it, clients look at it, they're all going to say, wow, that's really well done. That's very professional. I think that's something that's really important for law firms.
Yeah, so I really like that you all are putting emphasis on the branding and the, even you state the brand story. So for those that are not familiar with what your brand story is, can you kind of elaborate on that for us?
Sure. So are you talking about NOMOS Marketing's brand story, or?
Like when you work with your clients, figuring out their brand story, I think is what you were referring to, correct me if I'm wrong, and how you, maybe even discover that, help them discover their brand story and how it matters in their marketing.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
So we have a really awesome branding process. We actually have 3 designers who work with us. They're absolutely amazing. And what we do with clients when we're starting them off with a new brand is we get on the phone, we ask some questions, and between our designers as well as Tyler, he comes up with all the taglines for our clients. We listen to certain words and we create kind of concepts to get started. So we kind of have 3 different buckets that will say, here's a bunch of different ideas. And then I kind of think of it in the sense of a triangle, because we're going to do a few rounds of branding and we're going to hopefully get to the very top and pinpoint exactly the logo that clients want to create. And it's all about what message they want to put in front of their clients. And we build everything from the actual logo icon, everything down to the colors, fonts, everything like that. We also give our clients a branding style guide so they can see exactly where to use it. I'll sometimes, go on social media or whatever. I'm like, oh God, no, that wasn't part of it. And I can reference back to the branding style guide so that they can easily understand how to use it. Cause I get it. I mean, I'm not a designer, but it's like, April, don't do this, do this. And it makes it a lot easier to understand for our clients.
Right. And I think too, it's keeping it cohesive across all platforms. We have clients that have a website, but they've also got a billboard. They've got a Facebook account, but then they've also got flyers that they hand out at gas stations. And so you want to make sure that all those touch points are consistent. The colors are going to be the same. The branding is going to be the same. The messaging is the same. Similar photography. So, if you are wearing a suit in one picture, you'll be wearing a suit in the other picture. I'm trying to think, like Matt's he's got more of like a biker flair to him, and he's got like this cool, like laid back, like California vibe. So making sure that that's consistent through all this stuff, and he's not looking like a suit in one photo, and then it kind of has that more like personality forward branding on something else. And so I think what's really important for us as an agency is making sure that it's consistent. So we work with the client to make sure it's something that they're going to absolutely love. Like April said, we do multiple rounds of this. We make sure that we get to a logo and a concept that it's going to serve them well for the next 10 years, something that they're not going to have to go back and reinvest in.
Yes. So in all of my marketing experience in my business, I always say that, you go to marketing experts and it's almost like they're trying to make you into something you're not. And business owners don't really like to be salespeople, even though we all are. We're just in denial about that. And so it can be very uncomfortable. And from what I can make of it, the way that people teach you to market, they kind of are trying to get you to reverse engineer your image down to being authentic, your authentic you, right? And so I like how you guys are saying, find this story, this image that is really, truly you. Like I have a brand or 2 that I used, and we went through it. And I mean, my branding and my website and the colors and everything there are so neat. It was such a fun process to go through. I mean, she had me on Pinterest making boards of like my favorite jewelry and my favorite outfits professionally and all of this stuff, and she just made the patterns and the colors and the texture come together, and it was a really fun experience. And it sounds like that's what you guys are focused on too, which makes you more comfortable to really confidently go out there and push your brand and push who you are and what you're selling and what it is to you.
Right. Lawyers are so busy, they're so stressed. Marketing should be fun. Working with your marketing agency should be an enjoyable experience. And, it's hard. It's hard work. There's a lot that goes into it, but we always want to leave clients feeling excited about the next thing that we're going to do. When we're on the phone with them, talking about where things are going and how things are going with their firm, kind of getting to know what's going on in the background in their lives as well, really helps us kind of develop a strategy that's going to work for them. And like you said, if they want to take over their Instagram account for the day and go onto stories and do a video, you want that to be consistent with whatever they're seeing on the feed that we're helping to post. you don't want there to be two different conflicting messages. And I think, I think the one thing that we see a lot is people just checking the box, right? They got the website, check. They've got social media, check. They send out the email newsletter, check. But they don't really put anything else behind it. They don't put themselves behind it. They don't really think through it anymore. And I mean, we worked with one attorney here in San Diego who was a personal injury attorney. He's been around for 25 years. He had this older website that just kind of checked the box. But if you met this guy, he was not a check the box kind of person. I mean, avocado farmer on the weekends, owned multiple businesses around town, was a leader on the San Diego Sports Authority, and got to go onto the Padres field to present awards all the time. So he had this really rich life, but just wasn't reflected in any of his marketing. And so we went in and started working with him. We created video assets, photo assets, a new website. We did his Instagram account, his Facebook account, and really brought all that stuff onto the web and brought that into the forefront. And so now if you go into his YouTube channel, there's information about his practice, but there's also videos of him sitting down with former NFL players who are local and talking about their current businesses. And that's the kind of thing where you can really connect with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think we have the most fun with clients like that, because it's like, let's lean into who you are, just be your authentic self. And that's going to take you so much further. And I think especially when you're starting a practice, it's scary to be that vulnerable and like put yourself out there. I mean, I think, as entrepreneurs, we felt very similar. I was like, oh my gosh, like what if people don't like this or whatever? But you're going to find the people that are going to be the right fit for you. And I think, we really want to help encourage our clients, and we're cheering them on from the sidelines with everything they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. A really good example of that, I forget which podcast it was that I was listening to, but it was a law firm who was in a rural area, so around a bunch of farmers and agricultural and stuff like that. So, to speak to what you guys were saying earlier, one firm's marketing strategy may be totally different than the next. And so for them, what they found was that the suit and tie approach, horrible approach, didn't work. They put it down to collared, logoed shirts and jeans. They would go out to like FFA events. I mean, they totally tailored their firm and met these farmers and agricultural people where they were. And it worked so well for them. So I think what you guys are saying is so important in terms of finding your personal interests, who you are, being reflective in your firm, and then understanding that what works for one person is not going to work for another. And it's going to take time for that to flesh out and for you to see the fruits of the marketing strategy that you've built.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And too, you want to scale it up. I think anytime you're starting with marketing, you don't have to go full throttle right when you get started. I think there's a lot of places where you can start on a smaller budget and start to scale that up. When we talk about things that you can do on a budget, things that maybe a newer law firm can do to bang for their buck, is leaning into who you are, showcasing your personality, and producing content around that. And I think we've seen a lot of good results from people who've invested in a good website, they've invested in strong branding, and they've invested in themselves, and they've seen their firm grow over the course of a year or 2 years to a point where they can do some more aggressive things. So whereas a $3,000 a month pay-per-click ad campaign might have been out of reach when they first started, they invested in the SEO that they needed to get their website into a good place. They invested in sharing what they were doing in the office to kind of stay top of mind with referral partners, to the point where now they've got a great referral pipeline. How can we get more leads through the web? What can we do to enhance our brand's awareness around our market?
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, you kind of touched on, and let's talk a little bit about more. So let's say a law firm is maybe just not in a position to pay, a third-party marketing company to kind of come in and do all of this big marketing strategy for them. What are some good things that they can do on a budget, some of the most effective things until they get to that point to where they can hire and outsource this work?
Sure. So I'll tell you, just if a lawyer were to come to us and they've been in business for 3 or 4 years, what I would like to see them come to us with, I think number one is the story. So what's your story? What's your value proposition? that's got to be the underlying thing for whatever you're doing. We love the idea of starting with why, which is, writing down your purpose and like writing on your sleeve, right? And wearing it out there for everyone to see. And I think for us, that's kind of the baseline, because once you have that, you can have a streamlined website. You can have a less developed logo, but it's the story, it's the messaging that people are going to really connect with. I think too, just getting out in the community and meeting people, developing referral pipelines, staying top of mind with people who you went to law school with, just so they know what you're doing. I think that's the biggest mistake we see a lot of young attorneys making, is that they invest so much time in trying to develop some kind of automated funnel to generate leads, when the easiest thing for them to do is pick up the phone and call a friend from law school and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I just opened up my own firm, or I'm moving into this practice area. What do you think? Sending out an email, just kind of letting people know what they're up to, sharing things on Facebook. And I think that's kind of the baseline of good marketing, is developing that story and letting people know what you're doing, keeping top of mind. And then when you can't afford to come to an agency, you do have kind of this, I don't know, it's like a baseline number of clients that are coming in. You have a healthy marketing budget, and that you know that you can scale that up over time. And I just love working with people who are unique and have unique practices. Anytime you can niche down, anytime you can create something that's needed in your community that maybe wasn't there before, it's just a lot of fun to be able to work with a business like that has a strong vision and really help them amplify it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We could talk about visions and whys and purpose all day, but we're going to focus on marketing here. I love that topic. I'm so glad that you guys tie that into your services. I'm a firm believer in that. Even if you haven't found yours yet, it's there. Or maybe yours is in a different direction, right? You need to pivot and it might be there. So you guys have touched on something a couple times that I want to go a little bit further into, which is referral partners. I believe that this is an underutilized resource for a lot of people, not just law firms, but in law firms particularly. Let's talk about who those referral partners might be.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you a story of one of our clients in Wisconsin. She's a newer, I wouldn't say newer attorney. She's been practicing for a long time, but she stepped out to start her own firm about 2 years ago. And she came to us. She was actually one of our business partners' friends. And so we had a great connection with her to begin with. But we've really seen her practice grow primarily through referrals. But the way that she's developed that pipeline is really unique. And the way that she's leveraged her marketing is really unique. So she went out and she started talking to chiropractors. She's a personal injury attorney who does auto accidents, that sort of thing. So she started talking to chiropractors, and she would go to chiropractic meetings. She would drop off cookies with her branding on the cookies to these offices. She would drop off brochures at these offices. She was staying top of mind with those referral partners throughout the year. What was great is they were actually referring cases to her. But on top of that, she had a great website. She had a really strong social media presence, and she had a billboard. And every single call that she was getting, I shouldn't say every single call, but most calls that she was getting, they would say, well, I saw the billboard, or I saw the website and I really liked it. So they had these multiple touch points with her law firm before they called. So even though she had the referral partnership, where maybe she calls them and they'll say, yeah, I'll think about you next time I see a case that you may need. She was delivering value along that entire journey in a way that most law firms weren't. And I think for our own business, we're the same way, where we can pick up the phone and call an old classmate and say, hey, do you know anybody who needs a new website? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. And we'll have a great conversation, but there's no follow-up there. It's that touch point, over the course of a couple months, just staying top of mind with them and just saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. And so even if her Facebook account isn't getting direct leads from these posts that she's doing, she's staying top of mind with people who are potentially referring cases to her, former clients who loved service from her, and just say, oh yeah, I remember her. I remember the experience I had there, and I have a friend who needs, some help, from the personal injury training. I'm going to refer them to her. And so I think that's something that we're really excited to see kind of come to fruition, because it was a large investment on her part, but she's starting to see really great results from that. And so I think now it's, at least 100+ cases that she's currently managing she's hiring, and it's growing really quick. And so I think when you're talking about developing a referral pipeline, it's a lot more than picking up the phone call and asking. There's a lot of structure that can go into that. There's a lot of things you can do to kind of help guide people to your firm once they do get that referral.
Yeah. And I think it's about getting involved in the community. You know, I think I'm in junior league here in San Diego, and, you know, being around like-minded women who, you know, are doing some incredible things in the community, they want to help each other out. And I think you have to put yourself out there, and it can be scary at times, but it's also so rewarding on so many levels. And I think that's a huge thing that goes into this. You can't be afraid to put yourself out there. And you know what? It's not always gonna, you know, go perfectly, but, you know, you'll do better next time. And I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was such a good example with a PI attorney going with their referral partners, you know, being chiropractors. I think that's a really excellent example. And, you know, you talked earlier about niching. So law firms can't call themselves niched or specialists, but we can call them that, right? We can get away with it. And I heard someone say, I think it was on one of these videos where when it was Bernard Nomberg, which is on our top 10 percenters. So if you haven't seen those, go check those out on our YouTube channel. But he was talking about how when he niched, it's easier for him to use other lawyers as his referral partners, right? Other lawyers that aren't in his practice area, because also when people come to him and they don't fit his ideal client because he knows when to say no, he can then give those clients as a referral to his other law firm owners that he knows that may have that practice area. And so they're more, you know, likely to send him business back his way. And so that's just one of the benefits of really niching down and perfecting serving one client base as opposed to a plethora.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it makes it easier to share your story. It makes it easier to share what you do. It's one of those things that sticks, right? So, you know, for us, I think about attorneys that we work with, and a lot of them are, you know, PI, or a lot of them are bankruptcy attorneys. But when you get a little bit more specific, you know, I think about our local client here who does all the things with the sports association. You know, he's kind of becoming known in the sports community as the PI attorney, right? So even if you're not niching down on your practice area, you can niche down on who you serve and what your client profile looks like. And that becomes a lot easier to send that message out and to get that word of mouth out.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because at that point, you can really speak to them almost personally through your marketing efforts, for sure. And the message that you put out there, right? As opposed to talking to all these different people with all these different situations, you can be like, no, you right there, you right there. And this is what you're going through right now. And so I love the idea of niching, and I love to talk about that too. So I can definitely agree with you guys on that as well, for sure.
Yeah. I love those ads when I get them, and I'm like, how did you know?
I just saw that.
Like you're talking to me?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, look, we got just a couple minutes here left, and I would like to pose, you know, a question to you guys. I do this at the end of all my videos. If you could give just one piece of super valuable advice to the solo or small law firm owner on marketing, what would it be?
So going back to the check the box analogy, I would tell you to go back to your law firm's website, go to your Google My Business, go to your Facebook page or Instagram page, anywhere where you're marketing yourselves, and ask yourself, you know, are there pictures of me? Are there pictures of my team? Do I clearly explain what I do? Do I talk about the process of hiring me? What the process of representation is going to look like? Do I share case results, case studies? Do I provide any sort of social validation? If you're not doing those things and you're not threading your own story into those aspects of your marketing, then that's a problem. That's something that you can easily remedy by going back to the basics of what marketing is, which is sharing your story, sharing your message.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Anything to add to that?
You know, I think is so similar to that. And what we've been talking about this whole time is just about being who you are and leaning into that. And I think that's the core of marketing. And I think, that's going to bring in the correct clients for you, and really owning that. I really recommend that.
Awesome. All right. Well, Tyler and April, thank you guys again so much for your time today. Share with our audience if they would like to get a hold of you, reach out to you, how can they do that?
Sure. So you can go to our website. It's nomosmarketing.com. That's NOMOS marketing.com. You can reach us there. Our contact information is there, but you can reach out to me directly at tyler.roberts at nomosmarketing.com or april.roberts at nomosmarketing.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again, everybody. Thanks for watching this episode. Look forward to the next, and we'll see you next time.
Great. Thanks.